Welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network, presented by Patriot Patch Company and Camerado. Tonight, we got a guest. We have Curt from TCRT Targets. If you're a fan of We Like Shooting, then you know they're a sponsor of them. And you know one of the games that they do every week is what does TCRT actually stand for?
That's the mystery. That's half the fun of it. Aaron's actually got a pretty good one. Totally cool rubber targets. That one's pretty good. So yeah, that's kind of our thing, is what does it stand for?
Exactly. That is one of the fun games there. So definitely one of the fun games. So Curt, tell me about you.
Sure.
And how you got into shooting and reloading and
right on. I've actually been shooting really basically every Saturday. Myself and my brother and my dad, we would always go to the range. That was kind of the open invitation pretty much every Saturday. So ever since I was probably like 6 years old, that's what we did. And so about 2016, I actually got into the firearms industry as the director of marketing over at Facts and Firearms, and had the opportunity to really work there. That was an awesome experience. One, I just got to learn the firearms industry, but also just because of the size of the company and the fact that we could wear a lot of different hats, I was able to actually do some product development and a lot of other things. So that was, just a great opportunity. And then from there, I moved all the way across the country from Ohio to Phoenix, Arizona, to go work at Tree Shot Ammo, and worked there for a couple years, and then had the opportunity to team up with the TCRT guys.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice when you can have that ability to be able to learn as you go. And be able to kind of get more experience from all of the fun stuff. So,
yeah, and I guess what I would say is I think one of the great things about the firearms industry is the fact that it's large, but at the same time it's actually really small. It's a tight-knit group, and because of that, you really have the opportunity to work with some amazing people. I've worked in other industries, and I got to tell you that the firearms industry is great just because the amount of things that you can honestly get done on a handshake, that doesn't happen that much anymore. And the fact that everybody's just down to earth and honest, it's just a great environment to work in.
So what's your favorite thing about where you're at now with TCRT Targets?
I would say, honestly, the coolest thing about working at TCRT, again, I'm in marketing, and sometimes you have to do a little bit of smoke and mirrors, to really kind of hype up a new product or something that's similar to a lot of other things out there. I don't have to do that here at TCRT. The neat thing about our targets, and I think a lot of people have seen other rubber polymer targets out on the market. Ours is actually a proprietary formulation. Took about 3 years to develop, and it was made specifically for ballistics. A lot of the other products on the market, honestly, they're good, but they're repurposing, a raw material that was made for something else, whereas ours was made specifically to be shot. And so we're basically rated at about 400 rounds of 5.56 per square inch, which I know sounds pretty lofty, but that's really where it's at. So the target behind me, you can kind of see that one. We were actually out at Demolition Ranch, and that's basically full auto 9mm and 45 all day. But there is some 5.56 hits on there, and really they're just pinpricks. So it's a great product. It holds up amazingly well. The company was started in about 2016. And really what they were doing prior to being in the U.S. was outfitting military and law enforcement ranges in Australia and Singapore and a number of places overseas. And so they basically take the same material and use it for like ballistic curtains in front of, steel backstops and things like that. So I came on last year to really, stand up their U.S. consumer product market, and it's been an awesome ride.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
It's cool to see what what has happened from a year ago. Nobody really hearing about this to now.
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of people, even people that a lot of them have heard. A lot of the people I've talked to that have heard from it about We Like Shooting, but I've talked to quite a few people that have never heard We Like Shooting, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we've got these targets that I got, that found them on the Dillon site."
Yeah, definitely.
And so, they saw him there and they said, well, I'd give him a shot. And yeah, the target behind you, that doesn't look like 9 and 45 holes. It looks like 22 holes.
Right.
So.
And I mean, it is. I think we counted, it's just shy of like 4,000 rounds in that. And honestly, like if you look at the back, the holes in the back are really tiny. And so we could easily get another 10 to 15 rounds into that target. And again, that's obviously like a torso size target. And we actually sell like a patch kit to go over the A zone. So if that starts getting shot out, you can basically take a patch that's the same material and just kind of slap it on there and keep going. So, it is. I mean, really our goal is to make targets, that are going to last longer than anything else. The nice thing too is the fact that they're lightweight. Steel targets are nice. Everybody likes the ding. I do too. But nobody likes hauling steel around. That's always a pain. It's always kind of nose goes as to who's going to go, set up the steel silhouette target downrange. So, with these, they're super lightweight. We also actually sell like a target stand system. So we've got kind of like a plate rack kind of setup or like a dueling tree setup. And what we do is we just sell like the brackets there. So, we've got these. This is basically like the base stand for kind of the rack stands that, hold the torso target behind me. And we tried to keep the price point on those as low as we could. They are made in the US. Like the rack stands are $36 for a set and the tree stands are 33 roughly. But again, what's nice about those is you just go buy some 1x2s, and really for the cost of like one steel silhouette target, you can kind of get a whole course of fire. So you can get like a torso target and some of our round hanging targets and that kind of thing. So it just makes your day at the range a lot more enjoyable. Like the other thing that we'll have folks do, or we do ourselves too, is you'll spray paint them to see hits, but then what we do a lot of times is we'll say, all right, paint them different colors so you can call out like, greens get 2 hits, reds get 3, things like that. It just makes it a lot more fun and engaging. If you do any kind of training, the other cool thing about the TCRT rubber, like the torso targets, you can shoot these point blank, which obviously you can't do with steel, and you don't have to worry about frangibles and things like that. But I've literally mag dumped about an inch off of these torso targets with 9mm, 5.56, and 7.62, and they're perfectly fine. So it doesn't blow out, and they hold up. Obviously, there's not going to be any ricochet or anything like that, too.
So I forgot what the question was. Okay, so like say on the bottom of that target there, behind you.
Yep.
On that bottom section in the center, about how many shots is that?
Like in here?
No, just below that one.
Like there?
Yeah.
Hang on. That right there is like probably 15.
Okay.
Like just like right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then you said you've got repair kits, and then now here's a question for you. If you spray paint it after,
yep.
Does it kind of hide some of the?
Yeah, definitely. So that's basically what we tell people. You can spray paint them to see hits. Obviously, when you shoot them, it kind of it it blisters, and then you can just respray paint it, and you're good to go.
Okay.
I saw there was a question just about what calibers is it rated to. These targets are basically rated for anything from like .177 air gun pellets up to double up buck. Honestly, it's rated for 50 cal too. Yes, it's going to make a bit of a hole, but I mean, it's perfectly fine for that. We were doing some testing about 2 weeks ago, and I put about 1,000 rounds of 308 into one of these, and it's fine. It holds up. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So what all sizes and shapes do they come in?
So we've got the torso size targets. It's basically we've engraved like the IPSC zones on there, and then we've got like the hanging targets like this, and those come in anything from 2, 4, 6, and 8-inch sizes. They're available in black and white.
Okay.
Yep. We're working on some other things too. So like for the torso targets, we're basically seeing if we can develop almost kind of like a inexpensive stencil, so you can just kind of lay that over it and spray paint it. So if you need to re-see kind of your zones, so we're working on some things along those lines too.
Are you looking at making like so you've got them where you've got it etched? You maybe taking that same size and putting like the MOA squares. Have you thought about that at all?
Yeah, we definitely, we were talking with a number of folks at SHOT Show, and honestly, for etching, like it's whatever design people want. So we're looking at a couple of different scenarios there. Yeah.
Because I'm thinking that would be handy too when you're doing sight ins. Instead of paper after paper after paper, if you're just trying to do sight ins, you could just that, or if you're doing load development and you just want to see where it's hitting, you can easily spray it after you're done and keep going. So that's kind of what I'm looking at.
The other thing we've had some people do, mostly trainers, honestly, but I've done it for sighting in as well, is you can use it as a backer. So you can just staple a paper target right onto the torso target.
Okay.
And we've also had folks just for indoor ranges, they'll just bring that instead of, buying paper targets or having cardboard backers or that kind of thing.
Right.
So,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Little dots work well too. You can
you can just
little
1-inch,
1 inch, whatever size dots.
Definitely. The other question that we get asked a lot is, how much do they move? And I know that's going to be a question for folks who are shooting like long range precision. And I'm gonna be honest, the good and bad thing about these targets is, because the fact that the rubber formulation, it basically expands about 800%. They don't swing much, especially if you've got some of the higher velocity rifle calibers. You will see your hits if you spray paint them, but they're not going to swing much. So just keep that in mind. I just want to let people know, and I think everything's got kind of its sweet spot. So yeah.
Curt, this is Ray. Got a quick question. I've tested quite a bit of rubber in the past, and I noticed it don't look like you have any carbon black in this rubber. How long sitting out in the sun, say you don't bring it in after, you just leave it at the range, how long is that rubber good before the ozone starts to affect the rubber?
Right. Actually, that's a great question. the formulation was basically made, it's UV and ozone stable. It's this piece right here, was laying in the Arizona desert for 2 years, and it's fine. It yellowed a little bit, but that's it. It doesn't dry rot like a lot of other rubber products that you'll see out there. So I know like a lot of folks will use like conveyor belt rubber, things like that, and in about 6 months they just dry rot because of the heat in the sun. So, but again, ours is fine.
How thick are the targets?
So they're basically 6 mil, so it's about 1/4 inch.
Okay.
Yep. And they do come in black as well, obviously. Yeah. So the hanging targets and torsos come in 1/4 inch. The rubber itself is available in a number of different thicknesses. I mean, we're looking at different options that are like 10 mil and 12 as well. So
maybe
it's
maybe for
available.
that
Yeah.
person that's using larger cartridges.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
what about in real humid conditions or in cold conditions? You know, I'm up here in Wisconsin, and
Right.
we're frigid
So,
like 6 months out of the year.
right. Humidity, it's fine. It's waterproof. So if you're shooting in the rain, it's perfectly fine there. We got a number of questions about the cold actually at SHOT Show. It's rated for -20.
Okay.
But I'm going to be honest, I'm in Phoenix. I haven't personally tested that. But what we actually did is it was 2 or 3 folks actually from Alaska. And we gave them targets at SHOT Show and said, hey, test these out. Let us know. And I'm going to follow up with those guys just to see. Again, it's rated. It should be fine. But, I want to do some, hands-on testing myself as well. So
yeah, you want to find out before you sell it to somebody up in Nome and they shoot
exactly.
it 30 below
Yep.
and it just shatters.
It should be fine. I mean,
Nice
again,
segue.
yeah,
Go ahead.
physics states that, yeah, it's not going to expand quite as much, but again, it's going to hold up better than anything else out there. Do we ship to Alaska? Yes. So.
Thank you.
Mhm.
You don't know what the durometer is, do you?
I don't. I should find that out.
Okay.
Yep. I'll get back to you and let you guys know. Yeah.
All right. Panel, anybody else have any more questions for Curt?
No.
All right, Curt. Thank you for stopping by and telling us about the TCRT targets. I know, like I said, I've heard a lot of good things about them, and I haven't heard anything bad. So, definitely, I'm liking the idea of the gongs, and definitely also the big target. And I like the fact that you can spray paint it, and that's kind of a huge thing. It's so.
Yeah, definitely the feedback that we've gotten on it has been really good. It is the fact that they're lightweight. It makes it easy to kind of set them up and move them around. And really what we'll have folks do is between the targets and kind of the stand kits that we have, which are really modular, folks will kind of buy a setup and a couple of weeks later they'll go and, kind of buy another one. And now they can set up different courses of fire and that kind of thing. And again, it's lightweight and it's a lot faster and easier to set up than, a lot of other kind of products on the market. So, but no, man, I appreciate you taking the time and allowing me to be on. And, if anybody has any other questions or anything, you can obviously find us on social, but, you can check out more and basically purchase targets at tcrt.com.
Okay.
What are the price range?
So the hanging targets range anywhere from about $17 to $38, depending on size. There's discounts if you buy in quantity. We basically got like 1, 3, 6, and 10 packs. So those are available in the torso targets. The MSRP on those is basically $99, but we've got them for about $95 right now.
Okay.
So tcrt.com, anywhere else?
We are selling them at Sportsman's Warehouse as well, and then at Dillon. But we're really working to kind of expand out our dealer network. So you should be seeing them at, a lot of the other, online places pretty soon too.
Those stands look really nice.
Yeah, thanks.
So.
We put quite a bit of work into that because we really wanted to keep it lightweight and modular. We've had folks, I mean, the nice thing about them is they're basically Legos. And so if you get, a couple different sets, you can start connecting things together. I mean, we've done some pretty crazy stuff. And like the other thing is with like the rack stands, we've just gotten like that orange safety netting. And just made like barriers and things like that. So there's just a lot you can do with them.
I like the fact that on those stands, it's wood because, as we all know,
right,
they're going to shoot the stand.
Yep.
especially if you're training. So it's easily repairable. I like that, as opposed to some of the stuff that's out there where it's, rebar or other steel or aluminum. And so you shoot it, and then the next thing you know, you got to be replacing it all the time. So
exactly. And again, we basically did it so you can just use 1x2s, which are, really, they're like $1 a piece at Lowe's or Home Depot,
Yeah.
And so like what we've done at this point is, we've got, a bag of brackets and, another kind of bundle of wood at a bunch of different lengths. And I think the other thing to kind of say is like with like the dueling tree setup, because the targets are so lightweight, you don't necessarily have to kind of set everything up, nice and even. And I've done things where I've basically on like, one of the rungs, run a 1x2 out about like 6 feet, and that way, like we've all learned how to game a plate rack, because everything's evenly spaced. And when you can kind of offset, different target sizes, and you can offset like distances, between targets, it just makes it, more fun and engaging.
Here's a question for you. So like a regular 177 pellet, not the ones that are 1,200 feet per second and above, but the stuff under, or like Red Ryder BB guns and stuff like that. Will they go through, or do they?
Most of them will go through. Actually,
okay.
I was testing that about 2 months ago just to see kind of what's the minimum. Because again, like what some people will do is they're like, "Hey, can I do this in my basement?" The answer is yeah, you can. So really, I mean, they're not going to bounce back. For the most part, they're going to go through. If they do hit, they're not going to, bounce back at you. So you should be good to go there. Yeah.
Okay. Because for 4H, for the pellet gun shooting, we just usually would hang when we were doing it indoors. The American Legion, one of the American Legions used to let us shoot in there, and they just literally had like heavy, thick blankets that they would hang to stop pellets behind the target. So that's why I was kind of wondering how much penetration you get and stuff like that. But
like we've got these little like 2-inch targets too. That's what we made those for, basically, shooting for pellet gun or 22. Yep.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to share with the group?
No, I think that's it, man. Again, I appreciate the time, and I hope that folks can kind of check out tcrt.com. And again, if you guys have any other questions or anything, you can just hit us up there or on social, and I'll be sure to answer any questions.
Awesome. Well, Curt, we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And I'll let you go.
All right. Awesome. Thanks again, guys. I appreciate it.
All right.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
All right.
Yep. Bye.
Bye. All right. So, Jim, what you been up to?
Been working on a spreadsheet. The same spreadsheet I showed Sharonda a couple years ago. Finally took it away from her. Anyway, it's my spreadsheet. I've been working on how to take and do some things automatically. Like when I scrap a case, I want to automatically come off my inventory. But the other thing is, too, that magic word, inventory. I don't know what I own. I literally do not know how much I own, and I realized just a few weeks ago that I need to do something about that. And I saw you out there, ladies. She's out there sniveling. Great. Now she's going to want need some TCRT targets. Good for you, girl.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I've been up to, working on that spreadsheet with the ChatGPT of all things.
Nice. How's that working for you?
Pretty good. I found out that if you want to pay the subscription, which I can't possibly afford it, but if you're willing to pay the subscriptions, you can really put some wild ass parameters in that app that you get, because the app is basically a mouthpiece for the true AI, because you're actually chatting with AI somewhere on a server.
Nice.
I will say this about the app. It's kind of spooky and kind of nice. I put it on my tablet and I put it on my phone. But
Yeah.
I didn't tell the two iterations of the app to talk to each other, and they did. Questions I've asked on the tablet are on my phone, and the questions I've asked on my phone are now on the tablet. I didn't say I didn't want there or did want there, but to its credit, it did a good job of putting it there. So be careful what you put on, guys.
Are you saying that they're spying on you, Jim?
No, I'm saying they could be. I mean, all things are possibly subject to court order, search warrant, that sort of thing.
Ah.
I've been watching a little bit of that ChatGPT videos on YouTube, and all those people are out there using the subscription copy, or it's a subscription edition. Chat GPT -4, something like that.
Yeah.
$20 a month, in case you want to know. But there is one out there that I really am interested in, and the edition there I'm talking about is for using Excel.
Yeah.
What do you need to know about Excel?
Yeah, exactly. What I want to know is how to create formulas. Like for a good example, Paul, is I have an inventory tab, and I'll put all my calibers of bullets on one tab, all my calibers of brass on one tab,
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. And even propellants on a different tab. In particular, when I consume, we'll just say 7,500 grains of a particular pistol powder, I want that to come off my inventory. The way to modify my inventory is just simply at the end within the formula, where right above the bottom line, when I go to bring in the powder, of course I'll put the lot number and all that stuff, but that's on the propellant sheet. I can actually plus it over on the propellant tab to come up to the final inventory.
You can put it in your loaded tab and then sit down and say, this is how many I loaded.
Right.
Okay. And then you go and it takes the amount of powder because you're sitting there saying that, and it will take the amount of powder that you've loaded and bring it down to bring it back to the powder tab, and it will reduce an amount at that point.
That's exactly right. That's the kind of thing I want to do. But what I need from the app or the AI is the formula. I don't care. Don't explain it to me too much. Just give me the damn formula. I know what I want to do.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, I'm not being smart ass to you, Paul.
No, I mean I understand, but yeah,
your explanation is perfect.
It's a simple macro.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty simple.
Good.
And Excel. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, if I go to powder tab and I want to set up so it shows up on powder tab, but I want to link back to each caliber, and each caliber is going to report back to the powder tab how much of what brand of powder I use. That's
right.
Exactly what I want.
Yeah. So when you reload a cartridge, do you then go down to another line?
Of course.
Or do you just, okay. So if you load 40 short and weak, and then this week, and then you go down and you do another reloading of it, it's another line.
Correct. If the only way I don't do that is if I reload, we'll say 35 rounds of 40 S&W with a 150 grain bullet, and 35 rounds of 185 grain bullet. I do put those all on the same day, if you know what I mean. But the only way I don't separate my loads is by day. That's the way I separate them. But if I
Okay.
load 2 in one day, I just put two reports in there and
Together,
both on the same
you're
day.
putting them together, and then you have the difficulty of that
Yeah.
loading that you're doing is sitting there. It's a different grain weight between the two loads.
No, I put the 2 loads on 2 lines.
Okay.
2
All
loads on
right.
2 rows.
Okay. Every time you put a new load in, that it works out. That's easy enough to do.
Yes, sir. That's exactly what I want.
Yep. So
You know what? I
sending
think
over-
we haven't picked on. Paul. There's a lady out there heckling us. I think we need to get her involved in this too. She's supposed to be pretty good. She liked my spreadsheet. She really did. She was impressed by it. The only thing she gave me hell for was I didn't colorize it. I've even been working on that. Trenda, yeah, I'm talking to you, girl.
Yeah, I have some very large estimating spreadsheets that carry over 20, 22 pages.
Yeah. Wow.
So, yeah. So, it does lookups, everything else. So you can, if you have, you want to list something as an accurate load, it would do it. It would look it up and give it to you on a query.
Well, you see, that's part of what I want. Put when I created a spreadsheet, I put one of those parameters, and that would be accuracy. The groups yielded. I put it as one of the fields over, one of the columns over on the far right hand side, so I could actually include that particular data in the formula in the handling log that I have.
Right. Yep. So, yeah, it's all possible.
I think we have 2 other spreadsheet experts in this channel right now. I think one of them's named Nick and the other one's Ray. But I won't mention their names or initials.
Yeah, I know both of us have I'm working on mine now after moving out here and I'm going to start getting everything organized myself on a spreadsheet. And eventually I want to get a pair of the Bluetooth micrometer or calipers. It's all easy. I can weigh measuring case overall lengths, stuff like that on batches of brass. And so, but they're pretty easy. I have a spreadsheet I just got from a guy for a load I'm working on. I'm probably just going to use his spreadsheet, copy it over, and just modify it for my information. So he's already got the formulas in there and everything.
Who is Hazel, Nick?
That's my sister's dog.
Oh, okay.
Hazel, come here. Hazel, up. Right, y'all.
There you go. Beat him up again, Ray.
Nick, we kind of got that file we share. It's got how much powder we got. That one on you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
One we have brass counts on.
Yeah. And I can always, if I need to, if anybody's interested in just like ours is nothing fancy. Ours is just a basic going down what brass we have and count. That same way with powder, primers, bullets. So it's nothing. And when we put that together in half an hour, 45 minutes, and then you're just going through all your stuff, and that's could be anywhere from 2 hours to all day. It all just depends on how much stuff you have.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem, Nick and Ray. I got lots of stuff.
Yeah, it'd probably take the time just to enter everything in. Is going to take some time. That's
well,
right.
He's got a tablet. He can sit down, bring the tablet with him, enter it all in on the tablet, and then go from there.
You going to do loaded rounds too, Jim?
One at a time, please. Go ahead, Ray.
You going to do your loaded ammo too, or just components?
At the moment, well, the sheet contains loaded ammo. But I don't buy, very seldom do I buy loaded ammo. But when I do, I'll of course include the brass. Mm-hmm. But the loaded ammo, as far as I'm concerned, once it's purchased, it's already shot. I would just add another 50 rounds of new brass, new Winchester brass. Because if I go out and buy a box of WW white box. Nick, you asked me something too.
Can't remember what it was now. It's been a long day. I can't remember what it was now.
Good enough. Good enough. If you think of it, email me, Nick, or
Yep, we'll do.
be in the chat.
Will do.
Mike, back to you.
That was a long what I've done.
Sorry.
Interesting.
Sorry.
Nick?
Well, you know, you get into spreadsheet and computers, it's like, this is stuff that we can use our computers for. What the hell? One of the best benefits I ever had.
No, it was really good because
Very
that's
good.
not something a lot of people would think about. So
Great for record keeping. And, you know, it's like you can, excuse me, you could go on to outside sites and so on and so forth, but why not create your own simple spreadsheet? If you don't know how to do it, take a little course in Excel or Lotus 123. Now, I know I just talked about the old days, but you know what? The formula is still out there. Equals close left parenthesis 1 + 2 close parenthesis that equals 3. And the screen shows you 3, even though the formula shows all the characters. Anyway, that formula is still out there, guys.
there you go.
I see it, Paul. I'll send you a copy. I'll send you a link to the actual spreadsheets while I do, Paul.
Thank you.
I'll catch you on the chat too, just in case I forget that. Matter of fact, I'll copy that right now. And
All right.
make sure. Go ahead.
Ray, what you been up to?
Oh, not much. You see, we had the father-in-law's funeral a week or so back. Then I spent some time at Nick's and helped him work on his vault. So we're got a good start on it. And I'm traveling for work this week and go back home and commence life.
Yep. Excuse me. Paul, what you been up to?
Not much. Doing some loading in 308. Some extremely hot 155 grain loads to drag out to the 1 mile chute at in Crane, Indiana.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know, 3,000 feet per second with a 155 grainer in 308.
Nice.
One-time use brass.
Yeah, I would think so. How bad is that? How bad is that deformed?
It's a little hot. Put it this way. At testing out of the top velocity at just over 3,000 feet per second, I could not get 4 cases to fit into the shell holder.
Holy shit.
But
Oh, what was that load again?
I ain't telling the load. I ain't gonna. It's just some 155 grain Sierra Palma bullets that are hot, and
yeah.
I'm getting what was it? At the case head, I'm getting just over, what was it, 10 thousandths expansion, but the cases are
holy
shortening.
jeez, man, you're loosening the primers in those cases.
No, primers primers are hard as are fine.
Wow.
Primers are fine. It's just the case that the case heads are squishing a little bit.
Yeah. Are you shooting the case head into the ejector slot?
I have a really tight shell holder for 308. Okay. It's tighter than most. Because if I take a standard military case and I slide it in there, I cannot get a 2000th feeler gauge under it. Okay. I
Yeah.
get a 1000th, but I can't get a 2000.
Gotcha.
So
did you happen to clock that ammo?
My magneto speed.
Yeah. What would you clock in at?
30. Well, it was an SD of 7, and I had ES of 12, and it was averaged out at 30.28, if I remember correctly.
My God, Nelson. That's good ammo, good numbers, but my God, man.
Well,
don't tell me what powder, please. The odor cigars from
everybody wants to know.
Don't do it, please.
Don't tell them. Okay, I won't.
Well, if you want to do that, email Paul directly. Don't put it on this show.
I'm not going to tell you what the weight was. I'll tell you that. Okay. There's no way in the world.
Yeah, no.
But it's one-time use cases.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's one of the best comments about your load, Paul, right there. From running with scissors, you have to be single loading them.
No,
he said single feeding.
Nope, they can feed out of a mag.
God, 3,230 feet per second.
My bullet jump is 20 thou, and my throat on the barrel is cut for the Sierra, and it's a Palma load. Excuse me, a Palma chamber, and you got to remember it's also out of a 28-inch barrel, so that helps a little.
Yeah,
too.
there is that.
And
Mike, do you have any objections to Paul telling us what powder?
I don't care what powder.
Okay.
RL15.
You don't mind, Mr. Nelson?
RL15. Huh? RL15. Reloader
Gotcha.
15.
People are taking notes. I could hear this pen scribbling 1,000 miles away.
Yeah, but you have to understand the chamber in the gun was my throat is 0.095. Okay, with that bullet. That's all the throat is on that gun.
That's pretty tight.
It's very tight.
Good ammo, though. The extreme
single digits SDs.
Thank you.
And
SD standard deviation. Like I was thinking, sectional density. Standard deviation 7. That's great.
And an ES of 12.
Jeez. That's amazing.
How many times did you pack the powder down to fit it in a bit more, Paul?
Well, I ain't going to say what it is over book because I'm not going to, say anything about that. And when I was out there shooting it and extracting it, and I had marked the cases and had measured the case heads before and after. Okay. So
how much expansion did you get on these case heads?
the case heads expanded would be 50 thousandths would be what the case is expanded.
You mean half of 1,000, right?
Half of 1,000.
Point
Right.
0.0005.
5.
No, I'm wrong.
Yep.
0.0005.
Right.
3 zeros and then the 5. That's a half thousand.
Yep.
That's quite a bit.
Well, Spear would
For
say
one firing.
Spear would say that it's a maximum load, and
that's nice.
so would a few other people that follow case head expansion as far as that. And you're doing it at the range. You shoot the cartridge, you eject it, and you measure the case head.
Mm-hmm.
So the load you're talking about is actually published ammo, right? Published load?
No, it's over published load.
Okay.
Yeah, it's over book.
That's over book. I wouldn't have gone over book if I had that 2 loads before. Okay. In other words, on my increase in powder charge, which I'm not telling you what it was, if I had gotten that kind of expansion on the case head back then, I wouldn't have gone any farther.
Were you loading in the field, or did you load all this ammo at your bench?
I loaded it all at the bench so I could measure everything and have it all marked and ready to go, so I could sit down and write down everything on my sheet, what it was and what it was after.
The beautiful thing about this is perfect data for your spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect data.
I'm still amazed at the speed you're moving that 308 pill.
Mr. Sigerson, I do believe Paul said it was Reloader 15, RL15.
So Joachim Barkley over in Instagram said, I never ever reload to maximum. I just don't trust myself. I don't either. So, Plus, I've never found that it's that accurate.
Exactly. That's why I backed down the load for the 308 from 1,800 feet per second with a 180 cast bullet down to 1,600. If you can't hit what you're shooting at, what's the point of shooting?
Well, I know I could hit with it because I know what the groups were at 100. So
no, I'm talking about my experience, not yours.
I understand.
You did a good damn job, Paul. You did a great job.
You got to remember now, I'm sitting there loading these cases, to 2/100ths of a grain of powder. And, they've all been checked with, the case volume. And I would not load these in a standard 308 case.
Right. All right. So
Ken wants to know how many rounds I tested. Start to finish, there were 10 loads were tested and 10 shots with each powder charge. Okay.
So Nick? Not bad.
What about you, Nick? What new toys you got?
I don't have any new toys, actually. I haven't had a new toy all year. All year. It's been so far almost 3 months and no new toys.
Are you jonesing?
No, I'm not. You can ask Dad. I have nothing new. I know it's kind of shocking. But
He's got taxes coming up. So he's
I
got.
do. I got to pay a lot of taxes.
I would imagine so.
Yeah, like Dad said, finished up putting up the foam in the vault room. So we got that finished up. I got a couple extra sheets I took back, so I got some money to get towards some other supplies. Been working on 7.5 Swiss turned into 7.5 by 53 and a half for the Swiss 1889 Schmidt Rubens for a buddy and I for our rifles. Had to order some bullets from a company. It's a company called Blue Collar Reloading. They're out of what was the town, Jim?
Salisbury, North Carolina.
Yep, Salisbury, North Carolina. Great prices. I know we were talking about them before the show in the backstage. Some of the better prices reloading wise I've seen in a long time. And Jim was telling me some more information. They're a nice, good, small little mom pop type company. And so go check them out. And but no, yeah, I got some 180 grain Hornady round nose projectiles coming for this load. Other than that, really just kind of getting some projects finished up. Really, that's about it. And saving money for some trips coming up. So, and like you said, like Paul, there's not much left on my list I want, really.
Oh.
We were kind of going through that the other day. There's a few, but not many that I can think off the top of my head.
So, where are they price wise? Down here or
there's some
here?
right in the middle. There's some about the $500-$600
I figured your dad,
but then everything keeps going up and up and up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but like I want an original P53 3-band Tower Enfield musket from the Civil War because Dad's got a Springfield. I would like to have the 3-band Tower Enfield that the Confederate used, kind of have the matching set. Those are about anywhere from $1,200 to $1,500 plus, depending on condition. So it's just kind of watch for the right one. So, but
yeah. Well, I know this that one of the barrels that I had on order is finished. So next week sometime.
But I gotta buy the vault door once taxes are paid. That's not going to be cheap.
Nope.
So,
are you going to buy a real vault door, or are you going to buy just a steel?
It's going to be just a steel core, heavy duty steel door with
Okay.
I think 9 locking bolts.
It's a security door.
It's a true security door. Yeah.
Door. Okay.
It's going to take a lot to get in it, and plus it's a concrete walls. It's a true secure room, and it's also going to be my tornado shelter. So.
Okay.
Four hinge. It's a 4-hinge, 9-bolt door, electronic lock.
Electronic with biometric everything. Yep. So
that's money.
Yeah, exactly.
That's money.
You're hearing all this, and just dollar signs keep going up. But
yeah.
With how much money I'm going to have in there, I need to have a super strong secure door.
Is it cut right?
We have to. So one of the walls, the board that's in there is a little off from perpendicular. So we got to kind of plumb it out a little bit, and then we'll.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as when the deadbolts go in, and you have everything set in, are you going to use it right to concrete, or are you using it to wood?
Well, we're
going to go to the concrete.
You're going to the concrete. Yeah, we'll drive lag.
Okay.
Or bolts all the way through the board. The 2x probably 8 or 10.
Actually, that 2x6 framing will come off, Nick. We'll go right into the concrete.
Okay.
So we'll have to measure that. Okay. Yeah, we'll measure that opening concrete to concrete. Okay.
And then all he's got to do is pump concrete into the ceiling. So he's got.
No, I don't.
No?
It's already poured because it's underneath my front porch.
Ah.
That's why I'm putting it there. It's perfect. It's completely enclosed. It's waterproofed. Right now, it's got the foam pink board in it. We're going to do a 2x2 frame, drywall. It's going to look nice.
And then put a good dehumidifier in there.
Yep. We're going to run probably a humidifier combo for alternating seasons. And we're going to drill a P drain hole right over there that'll come into my sump pump spout, and we'll just drop right in there, and don't worry about coming in emptying out every week or so. It's already doing its job.
Good.
Nick, something you might think about periodically replacing a sump pump just for the sake of making sure it never fails on you in the middle of the night when
I think we checked. I think it's a good one still. I think I'll probably end up getting a new one here in the next couple of years just to be safe.
That's what I mean. Periodically, just set up a maintenance program.
Just put a battery operated one in there.
I will say mine doesn't run very often, and Dad can attest this. I'm up on a hill, so it's rare mine runs. We had one huge storm last year. It maybe ran 5 times.
Get it, yeah. What Paul said, get a battery operated one, and then if you want, what you can do is put a solar panel out to charge the battery.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but no, that project's come along, and so hopefully get to lose that water softener system in August. So once that goes, we're going to get a utility sink that'll go there for brass prep, and so. But because there's already a water hookup over there, so it'll be nice to have that right there. And so
yeah, that way your tumbler's out. It can either go inside or outside.
Well, the plan is we're going to build a room that's going to room all that off there. So we'll have a utility sink in there, the sump pump well, and that'll just be kind of like a utility little closet. And then we're going to build a bathroom on the other side of that wall whenever we finish out the basement here. So,
wow.
So the plan is to have a whole finished bathroom and a finished bedroom down here. So before I sell, hopefully that's the plan. So
before you sell,
which is going to be years down the road, but
okay.
I'm thinking resale value down the road.
Oh my God.
So.
The way the housing market is in Kansas City, he could make a fair ton of money.
So, there's a big electric battery plant going in down the road about 25-30 minutes, and it's made the community that it's in, houses jump about 40% in cost.
God.
Yeah. And you know what they're going to have to build to power that plant?
It's all going to be solar. We got I think we have the contract for it. I think we don't have it yet, or it's going to be coming soon. We're going to be getting the contract.
Because originally they were going to build a coal power plant for it.
Yeah, that kind of got put away. I think they're going to run for sure solar, and there's going to be some sort of other power there that's going to run that battery plant. But yeah, that community's houses are going crazy. They're thinking the community I'm in is going to be going next. So
nice.
Taxes aren't going anywhere. It's just housing costs are going up, which I'll take that if I ever move.
Well, be careful though, because I've talked to quite a few people. Because quite a few people that I know that are in the industry know that I'm looking, and they said you should stop looking. You should sit tight for at least a year to 18 months.
I'm not going anywhere for 3 or 4 plus years, if not more.
Yeah,
I love my job, and I don't plan on going anywhere.
Well, if you have to get married, to get married, she might want a newer house. You never know.
Newer? This house was built in 07. How much newer do you want?
It's what she wants.
Beat him up, Ray. Beat him up.
You'll learn. She will be the boss.
Yep.
He's
happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, but he has to find a she first.
He's single. He can afford getting a nice hot car and everything else.
I don't know. Sports car. That's why.
I want your dad's Camaro.
He's going to be selling it, hopefully, eventually.
Yeah, like I can afford it.
Well, if I had 10 grand right now, I would have bought a Jeep last week. If I would have just had 10 grand laying around, there was a Jeep for sale in Indiana, a 43 Willys for
nice.
$8,500. I'm like, ooh. If I had 10 grand, I would have drove over and bought that thing.
One hobby at a time, Nick. One hobby at a time.
Yep.
Yeah, but isn't that kind of all the same hobby?
Yeah. It's big boy toys.
Hey, Spud 76, you're a couple weeks behind. Nick dumped candy right before a SHOT Show.
It's been like 7 months almost, I thought.
And then, but his new girlfriend is Babs. Her real name's Mercedes, but she goes by Babs. So. Oh, cricky.
Didn't we have a topic tonight?
That was the big part of it. And we were going to talk about continue with the loading, but seeing as how we're an hour in now, we're not going to do that. I got a couple of questions that were emailed to me today. I'm just making sure I didn't miss any other ones. All right. So we got a question here. Sent from Bruce. Oops. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's being a pain. All right, so it won't let me share right now. Anyway, let me do this. Oops. So Bruce sent in a couple emails asking some questions about lead. Okay, now I should be able to pull this off. Oops. So it's not letting me share anything. So give me just a minute here to fix. Excuse me. Which is weird. I don't know why it's being a butt. Oh. You guys can talk amongst yourselves while I'm playing with this.
Oh. We had this one back the beginning of the show, and about downloading the 223. There are some loads that you can get that will out of Hand Loader Magazine. Oh, okay.
Okay, so I get that working. Carry on.
Okay, and I am going to and there are some reduced loads for 223 that you can use if you can a spear soft point at 1586 feet per second with 16 grains of IMR 4895. You can probably find IMR 4895. H 4198 is going to be a little tough to get, but there are some loads that you can work with. And this is out of Hand Loader Magazine, reduced rifle loads. So I thought I'd put that out there.
Yeah, because I tried to use my Sierra app, which is nice about the Sierra app. You can kind of adjust your velocity to exactly what you're trying to reach, and it won't even let me go below 2600. So that's the best way to find it.
So,
well, Paul used the term downloading. Don't get that wrong, folks. Please, what we're talking about is making under minimum load ammo.
That's safe.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with that. That's true.
Right.
I do have an opinion about this, but I'll wait and go last.
Go ahead and go, Jim.
Yeah, go.
Well, the data I had from years ago was if you use an extremely slow powder, like IMR 4831, if you underload that, it's possible you could wind up shattering the granules of powder and not ignite them. And you cause what's called a detonation. That talk about exploding, the powder exploding in the chamber rather than burning. And the way that happens is it's too fast for the pressure to be contained in the chamber and winds up bursting the chamber.
Definitely 4831.
Slow powder. Right, Paul. That's where I was going next. Paul's powder that he listed or he named out is a nice, quick, safe, moderate load powder, moderate speed. IMR 4895. I mean, you can load that stuff in just about anything and get good results. Maybe not spectacular results, maybe not 0.2 MOA, but you'll get some good results out of IMR 4895.
The same goes for H4198 too. Right. Both of them are good for reduced loads. And of course, Trail Boss, we all know if you can find it, would work for a reduced load.
I know several of the powder manufacturers, if you go to their online data, they list a max charge and they'll tell you when you're starting, reduce it by 10%. Shooter's World's one that does that. So I would check the powder you're thinking about using, go to their website and see what they recommend.
Well, I'm only listing loads that have been tested by, and Hand Loader Magazine has been a staple for a lot of shooters for a long time.
Yeah.
So I would be fairly confident in that data that's published.
I agree. You don't get much more credibility than Hand Loading Magazine. I've been watching some of their vids on Hand Loader Magazine on the YouTube. I have to tell you, the last one I watched, he was shooting Nozzles were seconds to knock nozzle first ammo. Seconds were just blemished ammo. And old Jeremiah, he was doing a pretty good job of all these shooting. That's a question I wanted to bring up. Thank you, Mike. Question is, do you reload unclean brass, meaning if the brass is fired, caught with a brass catcher, but not clean, just reused? Example, 45 ACP. I did it for years, Mr. Stewart.
The key part about that question, though, the brass is fired and caught with a brass catcher.
Right.
So it never hits the ground.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not a problem. Clean brass is just making it look pretty for you.
Keeps your fingers clean.
Yeah.
Well, at that point, if you're not wanting to clean your brass, I would run it through a dedicated decapping, universal decapping die, just to decap it, because that's always your dirtiest part of pretty much your dirtiest part of reloading almost, is that because you got that primer, powder, residue, and all that's usually all over the place, and carbon, stuff like that. So
I'll tell you what, when I first started reloading, I didn't have a vibratory tumbler or a water tumbler. I just used a 5-gallon bucket with, some Dawn dish soap and put the brass in there in hot water and swished it around.
you could even use one of these.
Yeah.
Just a small little ice cream tub.
Rinsed it and set it out in the sun to dry and loaded it.
For years, my bottleneck cartridges, I do the same thing. I just simply reload them. I would not clean them up.
Yeah.
Well, if you got lube on them or something like that, you need to wipe it down. Don't get me wrong. But you have to clean them up with a rag or something like that. If I clean them, I'd do just with a soft rag.
I'd wipe them first before I do anything with them, because I just want to make sure there's no dirt on them. But just a clean rag and wipe them off, and then start to reload. That's how I started.
Hey, Mike, back to you. You got something on in backstage, or I'd like to take a look at real good. If you don't want to bring it forward.
Yeah. So Bruce had sent me the question, and he wants to know what the lettering is on each of these. So on the top one, it's T, and then it's either W or M, and then L.
L would be for lead, probably pure lead,
or linotite, depending on the
yeah, you're right, Ray.
Best way to check it, if you can scratch with your fingernail.
W could be wheel weight.
Wheel weight.
W could be probably for wheel weight.
Okay.
It's a T.
10.
Yeah.
Good.
Be a big block of 10, that's for sure. Ooh.
Well, makes good casting.
Yeah.
How big are those biscuits, Mike?
Mm,
yeah.
They're muffin tin. Wait.
They look like they're 3 different sizes.
Yeah, they go from biggest to smallest, from top to bottom.
Somebody's got a sense of humor from up here in Iceland.
Tell me, yeah.
So my thought and Bruce's thought. He said the T is for tin, L is for Lyman, but he's not sure what the WM is for.
Lyman alloy number 2.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's wheel weights. I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the best thing to do would be to try to see what kind of a dent you can make into it with with a centering punch. One of those click centering punches. To see
Automatic center punch.
Automatic center punch to see if how big of a dent comes into it.
Well, the other thing too you could do, guys, is get yourself a Lee hardness tester with the magnifier.
Or if you got money, Seiko.
Yeah.
Seiko.
Yeah.
I like the
If you
Seiko
do
better.
go with the Lee, over on
Is it the reloading or which one? Yeah.
Reloaders
I can't
Network,
remember. Yeah.
making
Talking about the stand, the 3D stand.
yeah.
Yeah, I've got
Yeah,
that. That
Reloaders
helps.
Network. Loads of Bacon has a 3D printed little stand for the for that Lee that actually makes it very usable.
Mm-hmm.
What's so hard about that thing is you're moving like 10 power optics, and you move 1,000th of an inch. You just moved, 10 times 1,000th in your screen, in your image.
Mm-hmm.
You can't.
Yeah,
you
the
can't-
L
it-
should be easy to figure out, especially if we're thinking it's either lineman number 2 or true pure lead. You should be able to easily tell the difference on that one for sure. If
or
it's-
line it like Dad said.
Yeah, if it's line of type 2 or lead, we should easily. You should if it's pure lead, you should be able to scratch with your fingernail.
Wheel weights are going to be a little tougher.
Yeah, wheel weights will be
Agreed.
tougher, and Yep.
And T for tin. Boy, it makes a nice casting, but it just doesn't shoot very well.
There's a lot of information on the internet. If you don't know the lead, the Burnell hardness of some lead, you can buy assorted lead pencils ranging in hardness from 2H to 6B. And if you can scrape the lead with the pencil, for instance, a 2H pencil gives you a Burnell hardness of 26 to 28. A 6B pencil, if it scratches lead, gives you a Burnell of 4 to 5. So that's one way. If you've got access to art pencils, you can test lead that way.
There you go.
That's a big range too. 4 to 21, 4 to 26. That's
Well,
a
Yeah,
long
but
way.
they have a whole bunch of different pencils that are
Right.
in the range.
For
Yeah.
instance, a 2B is 11 to 12 Burnell, which is about a lineman, if I'm not mistaken. So
It is.
there again, just go to your local art store and look up the information, the chart online, then go to the art store. You can kind of decide what pencils you want to get and start there before you go any further.
Yep. Well, I know we were talking about hardness of lead the other day, Dad, when I was talking about that 25 to whatever. I can't remember what it was. Or no, 93 to 7, 10 to antimony. And we have a table, both I know you and I do, Dad. That a little, if you know you have those percentages, you put how much it is, total pounds, and it breaks it down all by hardness.
You shared that on the Discord.
I think I did on the Discord. It's been a long time ago. So if anybody's interested in it, let me know. I can send it out. It's a PDF. I have it on my Google Drive. I can just forward it to you, and it's easy enough. You can, even if you want to figure out you want a certain hardness, you can kind of play with it by pound. You want to put, say, 2 pounds of this in there, 3 pounds of this, 3 pounds of this, and you can break it down and put whatever hardness you want to achieve. So it's a really cool chart to play with.
Yeah,
it's a little outdated on prices per lead, but
you can change that too.
Yeah, you can always modify that if you want to update it. But
all right, so now for the second one. Oh, as soon as you're done with that. So
just so everybody can see it. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay. So the next question is, Bruce is wondering what's all this white buildup?
Battery acid, lead from batteries.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, so that's just leaching out.
You don't want to shoot that.
Yeah, I junked that right away.
Yep.
And even if I see that at a pawn shop or anything, I don't even touch it.
Yeah.
I try to avoid buying lead from pawn shops unless I know it's either pure lead or I know it's certified at that point, but I usually buy from a reputable source.
And that will ruin your pot too.
Pot and gun potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Mold.
Mold, yeah. Especially Lee molds, being that they're aluminum.
Yeah. And you can't melt it out of it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you couldn't flux it out or nothing.
Nope.
Well, I don't think flux gets the stuff hot enough to do anything to it, and if anything.
And if you're going to play with it, make sure you play with it outside with a respirator.
Oh, Blue Green Eye just joined us. So that's Bruce is the guy. Blue Green Eye is, and he said, "Wow, thank you for the comment on the battery acid." That's what I thought it was, but I wasn't positive. So.
Well, then Marvin, two up from him, had a pretty good question. He said,
Yep, that was going to be next. So.
Yep.
All right, Marvin. Since relocating to Florida and setting up my reloading station in the garage, I've observed rust forming on my dies due to humidity. Do you have any suggestions for slowing down this rusting process?
Move inside.
That's obviously the best option. Your second option is going to be find some dry storage boxes and use desiccants in there. As far as getting the rust off, there's lots of different options you could do. CLR works. You might just try starting it with brake clean or a degreaser and see if it's into the grease or not. But
yeah, that or just keep your dies inside till you're ready to reload.
Yeah.
Now the question of I would hope he knows not to leave powder and primers outside. I would hope.
Yeah. He may not. So Marvin, powder is very sensitive to moisture because it's hygroscopic. Is that the word?
Yep.
Yay! I said a $5 word. It's been a long week. It's only Tuesday.
Well, that's the nice thing about being in the Midwest. If you have a basement, most reloading bitches, people I know that have reloading, it's in the basement. Either that or like Paul, it's in a temperature controlled shop. If you can keep it in a constant temperature, way better. Like I can tell you right now, I don't have any. Well, I do have a few issues. I have a little bit of corrosion forming on some of the dies, but I just took them straight out of the box when I bought them from an auction and just did it that way. But wipe them down, you're good.
Handling dies with your oils in your hand, your acids in your hand will cause the dies to rust. Just take some 4-ounce steel wool and wipe them down and light coat of oil and you're good.
He says, "Yikes! My powder and primer in my garage now for 2 years." So. I guess just move it inside and go from there. So.
Yeah, best thing, especially on the powder. Now, like you said, you've had it 2 years. Check. I would look at through it and make sure it's not clumped up, because that's how you can tell if moisture's got to it.
Yeah,
if there's big clumps in it.
He says the dies are left on the Dillon 650. So, that's going to be the issue. There is, I mean, you could try like lightly coating it with like Imperial sizing dye wax or the dry lube. Spray them down with powdered graphite. But yeah, I mean, what you may want to look at doing is, if you can, and maybe you can't, but if you can, get some plastic sheeting and use that to kind of create a room. And it may not be an option. It may be an option. But if you can, Then use the plastic sheeting to create a room and get a dehumidifier in there. I understand completely having to be in the garage because I was that way for quite some time. So
let me do some asking around, Marvin. I know a couple guys that reload some of the old military stuff like I do that live in Florida. Let me see what they do. If they are in the garage or if they're in a room, bedroom or something, let me see what they're doing. Check back next week and I'll let you know what I hear from them.
May I make a suggestion?
absolutely.
Well, I would suggest storing the dies in the original box and then get yourself a little tiny desiccant pack and throw that in the box with it. That'll slow down the oxidation process.
You got to remember to dry them out every so often. And I was looking to see if I could find some VIP bags that which are vapor impregnated with a rust preventative. Somewhere they used to sell them. I can't seem to locate them now. And Jim, what do they use on from 3M that on Lay's and on that kind of stuff for storage? You remember that can of spray that they used to sell?
No.
Okay.
Sorry. The only rust proofing I ever saw on industrial tools, like Paul's talking about, was what they call cosmoline. It's it's like a lubricant and wax melted together. Spread it on the smooth, shiny surfaces. Don't worry about the rough casting, but the smooth machine surfaces, stuff like that, they would put this cosmoline on, let it cool and let it harden. Then you just peel it off with a razor knife when you're ready to start using the machine, start setting it up. Sort of like the old-fashioned dip seal.
Okay. So, Oder just said, just moved to Iceland where all housing garages included are heated by geothermal water at a very low cost. Rust? Don't know what it is. There you go.
Geothermal.
He does have a sense of humor.
So. That wouldn't shock me. They use geothermal up there. It was big there when I was in high school for a while because it was all the rebates.
I think he's referring to the volcanoes, Nick.
Oh, maybe he is. Okay, whatever.
Going back to the Dylan in the garage, why couldn't you? You'd probably have to take the if he's got the brass hopper and all that on there, cut a plastic 30-gallon garbage can, cut a hole in the bottom that you could slide over the press, put a goldenrod like you put in your safe in there, then put the lid on. That would keep an environment inside that plastic. You'd want not touch the damn plastic because then it could melt. But.
Well, the question is like if you think that route, I'm assuming his Dylan's on a riser. I would assume it's not flush to the bench.
Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to.
Well, no. If like you're saying, have it where the glow rod's sitting underneath the riser.
That so or like Mike said. Like Mike said, just put a black garbage bag around it, and you've got one of those spotlights. You put a 100-watt light bulb and keep it far enough from the plastic. Just heat that plastic up. That'd keep a controlled environment inside that bag.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And houses over in Iceland actually are heated by geothermal.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Our last 3 schools we've built are all geothermal.
Okay. Real quick here, guys.
There you go.
That's what they're there to. It's there to stop any rust. So you could put a bag over your. I don't. Depending upon how big they are, you can get them pretty big.
Well, that's a good size bag there. Yeah, that'd probably go over most of his stuff. Yeah.
So
especially you're just wanting to protect the dies, really. That and maybe the shell plate.
So
I think that's what the CMP uses when they ship their guns.
It's very similar. It looks like.
Mm-hmm. So that's what we got.
It almost looks like the bag you put your mattresses in if you store them. Similar.
Similar, yeah.
That's what I was thinking of. That way he could put it over his whole press, close it up, and then the other stuff he could put smaller bags around and stuff. So
excuse me. He said he's going to try and send us an email. So while he's doing that, let's talk about Patriot Patch Company. There is the patch of the month. You fill my heart to full capacity. So, patch of the month, they put out every month. You get the patch, you get a sticker, and then you get a card with the original drawing on it. And it's fun to look at the drawing compared to the final product to see if Ryan made some changes or not. So Ryan and Jake are the two for the reloading or for the Patriot Patch Company. And they do, that's what it looks like on a hat. So they come up with a different patch every month. And then also they have a whole bunch of different patches. They come up for different reasons. Like they've got a Let's Go Brandon that they just came out with, that they've had out for a while. Usually there's some stuff that's pretty timely. So so they've got a new one that's I'm a Neat Guy patch. So it's Whiskey Neat. If you need to know what that is, then you should go look. They've got one that's specifically for us, especially Paul, called Barrel Burners. It's an MTM case with MTM ammunition box with some cartridges that have been shot already, and then some loaded cartridges, projectile up, all sorts of different things. Some of the stuff that's on there is, Halloween and Christmas related. They've got the range spider, which is kind of cool. It's brass, and then it's got a target. Then they've got the God's Plaid patch. So they've got a cherry red, which is a can that's been lit up. So lots of different things. They've got shirts. They've got stickers. They've got signs, like wall signs you can put up. They also have cleaning mats. So they've got a 1911, AK-47, AR-15. So those are fun. And then they have magnetic patch panels for putting them on. They've got a patch panel that goes for the Alice clips. They've got the peel and stick adhesive patches, and then they've got a wall patch panel, which is 30 by 36. So all sorts of different cool stuff there. Oder asked if he could put kindly the link to the patch of the month. Are you looking for the website patch, or are you looking for the patch of the month where you can join via Patreon and support the show and get the patch of the month? I guess is the question, Order. So there's two options. You can just go to patriotpatch.co and sign up for the patch of the month there, or you can go to our Patreon page and sign up there and support the show plus be a patch of the month member. So we'll wait to see what his so yeah, they're the Patreon one is in the show notes, but I will add both of those here. So next up is Camerado. There we go. Camerado is the camouflage that Sean Heron developed for kind of more out west stuff, but it works a lot of places. He didn't like the camo that was available, so he came up with his own. And this is pretty sweet. I'm kind of stalling till I get the ad read up, so because I had it down for checking email. So looking for camo that's as versatile as your adventures and as stylish as your streetwear? Meet Camerado. The camo that's changing the game. Whether you're trekking through the woods or hitting the town, Camerado's unique pattern is designed to blend in and stand out all at once. It's not just camo. It's a lifestyle choice that fits in anywhere. So they got all sorts of cool stuff, jackets and, that all jackets and pants and all sorts of sweet options. They've got the boonie hats, pajama pants. So lots of sweet stuff there. So, and I'm going to switch this quick. Here is the Patreon link. And then you can go there and then you can support the podcast while you're doing the patch of the month. Otherwise, here is just the regular Patriot Patch Company patch of the month sign up email or link. And it looks like Marvin's phone died. So looks like we'll be not getting those pictures tonight. So anybody got any shout outs? I know you guys gave the shout out to Blue Collar Reloading earlier. Anybody else? Shout outs?
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Nick, for bumping them guys out, but shutting them guys out.
Absolutely. Yeah, I try to support as much small business as I can. And once I heard from you, Jim, that they were a small business, that's pretty much, that's going to be one of my, it's saved on my tabs, bookmarks for to check every time I need something. So
sweet.
Especially when they have a flat rate price. That's pretty nice.
Yeah. So that is extremely nice. So yeah, shout out to Curt from TCRT Targets for coming on, sharing with us their targets and all of the things they got going. He's got the 2, 4, 6, 8-inch gongs. He's got the IDPA style target. Very beneficial. There may be certain circumstances you don't want to use it, but you can also use it as you can staple your paper target onto it. So I'm definitely going to be getting one of the full size targets. That'll come in really handy and nice. So I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wish the pellets wouldn't go through, so then I could shoot the pellets in the house. I'm pretty sure my wife would go nuts though, because the dogs would be all freaking out, going, "Ah!" So
I've done it. Shoot a pellet gun in the house. A little bit
Oh, yeah.
noisy, but it's all right.
Yep. Update from Laser Academy, from Manus. They've got a bunch of new stuff that they've added. They've kind of updated the app, so just a heads up on that. But, so yeah, and they're working on adding more stuff to it. It's fun. So I don't use my enough. What do you mean it doesn't work? What the heck? Well, that's busted. All right. Anyway, order. I'll work on figuring out what's going on that. So I'm not sure. Oh, I bet you it's .tv. Makes no sense. Oh, I see. Okay, I know what's wrong with it.
All I can say is weather's weird because it was 75 today. It's supposed to be down to 18 tonight here.
Yep, about the same swing here.
That's all I can say. Weather's weird. It's supposedly snowing outside right now, so we're gonna go look here when we're done.
Sweet. All right, gang. On that note, enjoy your lovely weather. We're supposed to get a little later tonight. Keep your brass shiny.
Jump on the Millsap short bus.
Teach them to shoot and reload when they're young.
Grandpa told me, don't listen to my mama. Violence does solve problems.
Support the Second Amendment. It's the backbone of the Constitution. It's the one that protects all the other 9 rights on the Bill of Rights.
Indeed. And if you're struggling, 1-800-273-8255 or 988 from a cellular device. Reach out, get some help, get it started. We want you here. We need you here. We greatly appreciate everybody that does listen, everybody that tunes in, everybody that sponsors through Patreon. I forgot to mention our merchandise. We got the sweet shirts and the cups. So that link's also on the page. So, but yeah, 1-800-273-8255 or 988 from your cellular device. Please make sure you reach out. It's a sign of strength to reach out and get help, not a sign of weakness. Good night, all.
Good night.